the wrestling community. So
what exactly is your role with AAA?
I thought I dodged that question. I went all the way around it. That's why you're the best, because I thought I went all the way around it and you would forget that. My gosh. I guess in layman's terms, I'm the head.
You don't want to give yourself a...
He doesn't want to say it because he knows as soon as he says it, everyone knows who's responsible for AAA's creative
title here.
Nah,
You're the guy.
I don't. It's
guy.
great. It's great when it's the El Grande storyline. But as soon as you throw one storyline out there that sucks, it's like,
see, exactly my point.
Like, oh my God, he's horrible. Fire him. No, wait. I guess I'm the head of creative. There you go.
And just like that, the dead man finally stops dodging and has admitted that he is the creative of AAA. Welcome to the Tea Drop, where the brew is strong and there's lots to talk about. Today's pour is thick because Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, has now confirmed on camera that, and I'll say this in plain English since we're dealing with AAA, he is the head of creative. Él es el cargo de AAA. He's not a consultant. He's not someone occasionally offering advice. He's not a legend stepping by to give a motivational speech. He is the head of creative. That confirmation just arrives as Triplemania season begins heating up. Triplemania will be presented across 2 nights, September 11th in Las Vegas MGM Grand and September 13th in Mexico City. So for today, the tea is very simple. Can WWE own AAA and still allow Trip to remain AAA? Let's get to it. Let's begin with The Undertaker actually said, because we don't need to turn this into some fan fiction and then eventually get people pissed off because he's creative. Chris Van Vliet, straight up shooter, asked Undertaker about his role within AAA at Fanatics Fest New York City a few weeks ago. At first, Undertaker attempts to slide around the question. He talks about his vision. He talks about a Grande Americano story. He talks about delivering motivational speeches. But Chris Van Vliet doesn't let him escape because that's the type of interviewer he is. He can look kind. He can look smiling. Look at this man. He's smiling right now. He can look like he's a cheerful man, but he will get the question he needs for his thing, for his podcast, for insight. He will get it. He won't let him escape. Undertaker realizes that he had to answer it. He laughs it off and says, and I'm quoting him directly, "I thought I dodged the question. I went all the way around it. That's why you're the best, because I thought I went all the way around it and you would forget that. Oh my gosh, I guess in layman's terms, I am the head of creative." I mean, I'm not playing that because AAA is dead because he's creative. It's more like, yeah, the dead man's running AAA. There you go. Maybe that's a little more cheerful. This isn't coming from a rumor account anymore because that's all it's been. It's been maybe, maybe not. We don't know. We have vague things. It's no vague reports anymore. It's not somebody trying to interrupt Undertaker's presence backstage. Fightful also quoted another thing. They said, "We're just making what's old new again and proving what it still works." That's the quote they got from this. It tells something important. It tells us Undertaker isn't talking about reinventing professional wrestling, at least for AAA, from scratch. He believes certain fundamentals have been abandoned: consequences, aggression, characters who feel dangerous, stories that make people emotionally invest before the bell even hits the first ring. His idea appears to be taking those fundamentals, those older fundamentals, and presenting them to the modern audience, which is great. If he truly believes all these great things about AAA, he will take those fundamentals and just figure out a way to introduce it to the modern audience. This brings us to the real story about this whole video, because the title Undertaker is booking AAA can be clickable, but his vision for the product is the more important conversation I want to have in this video. Now, according to Undertaker, he wants AAA to be completely different from NXT, completely different from SmackDown, completely different from Raw, different from every other wrestling show currently available. He identified these creative pillars when it comes to AAA and his vision: storytelling, athleticism, aggression, So those are the three pillars I guess we can assume we will see going forward or are seeing currently with AAA, which I think we're seeing those for the most part. I think I agree that I can say I've seen that in the recent weeks of AAA show. Some not as obvious as the other, but if you sit a minute and think about it, you are seeing it. Now, regardless if you see it or not, it may sound simple, but every wrestling company claims to value storytelling and athleticism. The word that separates Undertaker's vision when it comes to what other promotions are saying is aggression. Maybe I'll put a clip of John Cena saying ruthless aggression. Anyway, the word that separates Undertaker's vision is aggression. He doesn't want AAA to feel overly polished. He doesn't want its violence sanitized, which is thank you. He doesn't want Lucha Libre's strangest characters winking at the camera as if everyone watching should be embarrassing to care. He wants the wrestlers to commit. He understands what AAA is all about and what he shouldn't be doing to diminish it, which is what a lot of people were afraid of over a year ago when AAA was acquired by WWE. Everyone thought, oh, there it goes. It's NXT Mexico. That's the first thing people said. It was going to be NXT Mexico. Here we go. Watch a year from now, NXT Mexico. And it's not happening, thankfully. Undertaker used the Grande Americano mask versus mask match as an example. And we can listen to it. Let's hear what he has to say.
My outdoor life.
Well, you're working a lot with AAA now. So what exactly is the role you have with AAA? And also, how much credit do you take for one of the greatest matches, El Grande Americano versus original El Grande Americano?
Oh, no, thank you. No.
So modest.
Myself and Jeremy Borash kind of had this idea, but, El Grande and Chad Gable, man, they took the thought.
Did you just hear what he said? You hear the fact that he pointed out Grande and Chad Gable. He hasn't revealed who the other Grande is.
And the idea, and they really took it to a whole different level. There were some highly motivating speeches that I gave both of them before they would go out.
What did those sound like?
Oh, I don't know how. Well, there's a bunch of kids here. No, I just I would reiterate to them how important what they're about to go out and do is, not only for AAA, but for their own personal careers. And, and trying to motivate them to do things differently and be more edgy, more aggressive, more violent, right?
There we go.
And
there we go.
It took a while.
There we go.
It took a while for that to kind of set in and for them to see my vision. And my vision is I want us to put out a product that is completely different from NXT. It's completely different from SmackDown, Raw. I want it to be different from every other wrestling. So, and that starts, with me is storytelling, athleticism, and aggression. And, it's a process, and everybody's starting to buy into it and realizing that what we're doing down there, it's got the attention of the wrestling community. So,
what exactly is your role with AAA?
So it was him and someone else who developed the idea, but it was just the idea. Chad Gable and El Grande took this story to another level. Before the wrestlers went through the curtain, Undertaker gave them what he described as motivational speeches. He would repeat the exact language because children were near. He didn't want to say because I guess children were there. Maybe they were cursing or whatever. But all in all, the creative direction was clear. Make it edgier. Make it more aggressive, which we can see with the mask versus mask match. We saw it with the story leading up to that match, and now we're seeing it, and more recently, the story leading up to Grande versus Dominik at Triplemania. The whole who attacked Psycho Clown story is also a thing. La Catalina story is another one, and the Mitts tag match might be another. I don't know if they confirmed the match for the Mitts tags with Lola Vice and Iguana Man trying to get their belts back, but it might be a potential. We also have Damian Priest. We have the Latin American. Those, they're not going as heavy with storytelling, but there's some light stories. But they are obviously going to focus to the bigger stories, but they are still trying to push the story. They're making it edgier. They're doing it aggressive, and some of these matches are becoming very violent. This is why saying Undertaker is booking AAA only tells half the story. The complete sentence of this whole story is Undertaker is attempting to book AAA in a way that prevents it from becoming another Monday Night Raw with luchador masks. That's the T. To understand, though, what it should matter for everyone, we need to understand the ownership context of it all, because that's where the worry started and where we went in a spiral seeing what is the future of AAA. But let's start with that. On April 21st of last year, during WrestleMania 41, WWE, operating under the TKO brand, announced its acquisition of AAA in partnership with the Mexico-based company Philip. The announcement was made during the WrestleMania 41 countdown in Las Vegas. Triple H was there, Alberto Fasca was there, Marisela Peña and Dorian Roldan Peña was there. Rey Mysterio, El Hijo del Vikingo were part of the presentation. It wasn't treated like a small licensing agreement like they've done with Evolve and other companies. It was presented as a beginning of a new era. AAA was founded, as you guys know, by Antonio Peña in 1992, and it remained a family-operated company for more than 30 years. The public commitment was that the Peña family would remain involved in the company's next chapter. The transaction was initially expected to close during the third quarter of 2025. Worlds Collide was positioned as one of the first major showcase of WWE and AAA partnership. The corporation message was straightforward when it came to them. Preserve the heritage, expand the scale, give AAA access to WWE's distribution, production, infrastructure, and global platform without removing what makes the promotion culturally distinct, which is what I like about it. It's so different. That makes me want to watch that more than just see another version of Raw, another version of SmackDown. And now, unfortunately, it's what NXT recently has become, because NXT used to have that distinct look too, but it's been lost ever since as well. Now, that sounds perfect. All this, what they were describing, perfect in a press release, but executing it on a weekly television is much harder than you would expect. Now, WWE may control the infrastructure, but The Undertaker, the man who made darkness feel like a religion on American television, is now saying he is one of the people shaping what preserving the heritage look like from week to week. The next question is whether that vision is actually appearing in the product. If Undertaker's formula is storytelling, athleticism, aggression, and a presentation that doesn't feel like standard WWE television. Where's the evidence? Let's put the receipts on the table, and we'll start with receipt 1. But before that, shout out to this woman, Marisa Peña. She is like the most unique looking freaking owner in wrestling history. Like, she has this distinct look with this hair and everything. Like, it's crazy. Apparently this is her too, but why is she looking so different now? Like, look at this hair. Boom. It's like, damn. Anyway, hilarious. Not hilarious. Shout out to her for holding the company together all these years. Let's start with the first receipt of the Undertaker regime so far, I guess. And that's obviously we're gonna start with the mask versus mask, which still means something till today. And it's been a few months now. Now, on May 30th of this year, AAA presented Noche de los Grandes. El Grande Americano faced the original El Grande Americano in a mask versus mask match. Chad Gable was ultimately unmasked as the original. This wasn't a television match designed to fill 20 minutes before both wrestlers moved on to the following week, like you usually would expect in other WWE programming. Identity was placed on the line. The result carried a permanent consequence going forward for one of them. A mask was removed, a secret was exposed, the story couldn't simply reset once the show ended. That is the Lucha Libre consequence that you don't see much of. And Undertaker has now admitted that he was involved with the original idea and the wrestlers' pre-match psychology to prepare for them for this match. This was a great story build-up. It had emotion, it had consequences, it had culture Sorry. It had culture against culture, one accepting the culture, one trying to change the culture. I talked about this in the Grande Americano video. I'll put it in the description for you guys to check it out. It's so much to undertake, but it's one of the greatest things I watched this year so far when it comes to WWE programming. Now let's talk about receipt number 2, which is characters are being reinvented instead of discarded. El Grande Americano may have started as WWE's comedy packaging, but it could have remained a temporary joke, but it could have disappeared the moment WWE creative lost interest. But instead, AAA placed the character into tournaments, mass versus mass stakes, confrontations with the Perros del Mal, uneasy alliances, and championship paths. The character has been allowed to accumulate history. That is the difference between a comedy bit and a babyface with scars. A bit exists for one reaction. A character changes because of what happened to him. AAA has been attempting to make El Grande's journey matter, and it shows because people are behind him 100%, and the man's not Mexican. He just Mexican accepting, I guess is how he said, or whatever. He may not have been born in Mexico, but he was always a Mexicano or something was the story. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the third receipt, which is the Betrayal that is moving the board towards Triplemania 34. Dominik Mysterio has been playing the double game in perfect fashion, which I wish WWE used them better, but I guess it's okay. Let's use them in AAA. It helps AAA anyway. He saves El Grande Americano from Perros del Mal. El Perros del Mal been attacking Grande ever since the Mass versus Mass. It's become a new story for him, and Rey Mysterio decided to help him out. And then after this whole confrontation, he goes backstage and meets up with Grande. And if I can rewind it, he tells El Grande that they need to protect each other. He proposes that they join forces against Los Perros. Then, unfortunately, even though they agreed, they decided to do a tag match and all, and so on and so forth. Eventually, this man, a verano del escándalo, Dominik abandons him. He betrays him in a tag match that they agreed to do. That is what episodic wrestling television is supposed to accomplish. One episode creates trust, the next episode puts pressure on it, then the betrayal changes the relationship and makes the following episode feel necessary watch. The objective isn't simply to deliver a good match, it is to make people feel as if they've missed an opportunity or an important development if they skip next week. And that's why, to me, watching AAA each week for 1 hour or an hour and a half is must-see TV. For free must-see TV because it's on YouTube right now. Rey Mysterio is being used as a bridge, not an eraser when it comes to this upcoming development for AAA. On May 23rd, 2026, another thing that happened, and this is further in the storytelling of why Dominik Mysterio is doing what Dominik Mysterio is doing right now, and it goes back to this moment right here. On May 23rd of this year, Marisela Peña named Rey Mysterio the general manager of AAA. Rey is ultimately qualified to stand in the middle of this experiment. He is perfect to be used as the general manager because he is a wrestling Mexican icon. He is a WWE Hall of Famer. He has a genuine and truthful AAA history. He understands the American television machine that he's worked with afterwards in his time in AAA, and he understands the cultural meaning of being Lucha Libre. Rey doesn't have to replace AAA's identity with WWE's identity. He can connect the two, and while still keeping AAA. That makes him the perfect symbol for this entire ownership relationship. He is standing directly in the center of the WWE and AAA Venn diagram, if you think about it. If you're already watching AAA every week because the stories actually move, let me know in the comments though. Hit the comments as well. And if you're enjoying this, please hit the like, guys. Now, let's start with the hard question when it comes to AAA. And it's going to be one. Can WWE own AAA without killing Lucha Libre? That is the big question everyone is talking about. WWE is the largest sports entertainment machine in the world, right? AAA represents Lucha Libre's identity. Masks, family lineage, faction warfare, crowds treating wrestling like a cultural religion, and a fundamentally different understanding of what a wrestling match is supposed to accomplish. Corporate ownership always creates the same fear. Does the parent company protect the flavor, or does it export its formula? Undertaker's public answer appears to be protect the flavor by making the show more aggressive, more story-driven, and less like Raw. I think that's smart messaging from his part. It might also be the most difficult job in the building, though, because WWE's measurement of success and Lucha Libre's cultural measurement are not always going to line up and be the same. WWE's television frequency prioritize brand synergy, star protection, global accessibility, crossover packaging, television real estate, and keeping its most marketable names consistently visible. Lucha Libre, particularly in Mexico, often operates according to a different internal logic, which is mask mythology, permanent consequences, faction blood feuds. The audience acting as a co-authored of the experience and absurdly being performed sincerely instead of with a wink towards the camera like you will see in typical WWE products. Neither approach is automatically wrong, though. The danger appears when one completely replaces the other. Right now, though, with AAA, many viewers are arguing that AAA's weekly product is rewarding its audience in a way Raw and SmackDown occasionally forgets to. And I have to agree with that. I absolutely love watching AAA. I watch it every Saturday, and if I can't, I'll always rewatch it afterwards. I missed it last night, and I watched it this morning. It was fantastic. Now, all in all, that isn't the way people are reacting on how they feel about AAA isn't because every AAA match is cleaner. It honestly isn't, because AAA's production, it isn't either because the production is larger, and it isn't because every creative decision they make is perfect. It is because something happens. And what I mean about that, because people will say, oh, some stuff happens in Raw and SmackDown. What I mean about that, and I'll give examples because it's hard to explain otherwise. For example, a betrayal that changes a relationship, a qualifying matches that actually has true consequences and worry for the fans, a wrestler losing a mask that doesn't magically return the following week for them. It's gone. A faction war spills into the next episode, and the next episode that makes you want to watch every week. Now, Raw can deliver a beautiful match that advances a storyline by 2 inches. AAA has recently been giving viewers a reason to return in less than 2 hours. That doesn't mean, though, that AAA is permanently better than WWE. Please don't take it as that. It means to me, though, that AAA currently understands the assignment of episodic professional wrestling. Every episode should change something. Every ending should create a reason to watch the next beginning of the next episode. Bigger stars do not automatically create better episodes. This is also why some viewers currently find AAA more satisfying than Raw and SmackDown. The flagship shows have larger stars. They have more polished production too. They have even more recognizable championships. But bigger isn't always more rewarding. If an episode ends and every character remains in the same position as they started, the audience was entertained, but it wasn't necessarily given a reason to return. Shout out to Big Rudy for the 3 months of membership. Acknowledge me. AAA's recent strength has been movement. Stories actually advance better, and relationship changes, consequences stick. This is the difference between watching a collection of segments and watching an episode. But let's keep the take under control for a minute, because I know people are going to go wild if I don't. I'm not doing the lazy AAA is perfect and WWE is dead argument. I'm honestly trying to just say AAA also still has legitimate problems, but interference can become excessive. Chaos is entertaining until every match requires 6 people surrounding the ring. At some point, constant interference stops creating unpredictability and starts making every finish feel the same. WWE talent could also eclipse AAA's full-time roster if the creative team isn't ruthless about elevating the wrestlers who are actually there every week. Crossovers generate attention, but AAA cannot become a place where its homegrown talent waits for the next WWE star to arrive and take the bigger position. There's also story tracking problem. Following AAA television, premium events, WWE crossover appearances, and social media angles can begin feeling like homework. A story can be deep without becoming difficult to access, and the first 2-night AAA Mania is going to be a major gamble because night 1 will be taking place on Friday, September 11th in Las Vegas MGM Grand. Night 2 will follow on Sunday, September 13th in Mexico City at Arena de Mexico. 2 nights can make Triplemania feel larger and more historic, but it can also dilute the importance of the event if the cards don't feel distinct and important. And you guys know what I mean by that when you guys think about how some of the 2-night WrestleMania nights feel, and how even as of recent the 2-night SummerSlam can feel. The audience needs to understand why both nights are very important and essential to your watch. Undertaker's biggest creative test isn't producing heat. It is exercising restraint. The moment AAA becomes NXT with Spanish commentary, it's over. The experiment has failed. Even if the ratings increase for 1 quarter, the WWE machine should strengthen AAA's foundation instead of replacing it with what they're usually used to. And we should also be honest about Undertaker's announcement. He didn't claim that he was secretly controlling the company. He didn't present himself as part of some wrestling shadow government. Chris Van Vliet asked a direct question. Undertaker did try to dodge it. He got caught. Simple as that. Then he owned the answer, which was great. That is a veteran who still understands the power of mystery. Right up until the microphone refuses to let him escape. But anyway, so where does all of this leave us? I will say this. The Undertaker is not simply making nostalgia appearance in Mexico. He isn't only arriving to hit entrance, take photographs, and generate headlines. He has now said, in layman's terms, that he is the head of creative for AAA. His stated mission isn't to clone any Raw show, SmackDown show, or whatever. He wants more aggressive, more story first, still rooted in Lucha Libre, which is perfect. The available evidence suggests that Creative Room is at least attempting to honor that mission based on what we've seen so far this year. Mask versus Mask, the Dominik Mysterio story, the Perros del Mal situation, the Rey Mysterio serving as general manager. All of these aren't proof that the experiment has permanently succeeded, but they are proof that the people involved understands the concern and the importance that everyone wants when it comes to AAA. Ownership is a long game. WWE can fund the lights, it can expand the distribution, it can create international crossovers, it can secure the Fox window for television rights. It can even create the scale of Triplemania. But money and distribution cannot, and I mean cannot, manufacture cultural identity. Only AAA's wrestlers, families, crowd, and creative minds can determine whether the promotion's soul remains inside the building. Raw and SmackDown may have the larger stars, they may have the bigger machine, they may even offer the more polished weekly wrestling program, but AAA currently understands something flagship wrestling television forgets too often. When the show ends, give people a reason why the next episode is required viewing. That isn't anti-WWE, that is pro wrestling at the end of the day. And if The Undertaker is the person trying to protect that standard inside a WWE-owned AAA, then the dead man isn't haunting the past. He is booking the future. Drop your thoughts in the comments, guys. After all, is The Undertaker the best possible guardian for AAA's identity? Or is this how WWE Lucha begins, just with better lighting? As always, if the tea hit right, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.